Have you ever noticed it? Some men walk into a room, and she leans in. Others stand in front of her, and she barely blinks. What separates them isn't money, it isn't looks, it's invisible gravity, a presence that pulls her nervous system into orbit and leaves her wondering why she wants him more the less he tries. This isn't a trick. It's not manipulation. It's possession. High-value men don't play games. They bend reality. By mastering one principle, the more you ignore her, the more she feels you. Not out of malice, but out of power. Today, you will see the precise psychological reasons why high-value men ignore women, and why doing so doesn't push her away. It binds her attention. Every point is extremely important to understand, especially the last one, because that's the one her body reacts to, even when her mind tries to resist. Let's begin. 1. Free attention is her drug, and he's the detox. She lives in a digital palace of validation. Every morning before she even brushes her teeth, hearts, comments, DMS from strangers begging for her presence, 1,000 microdoses of worship that slowly poison her sense of reality. But then, a high-value man steps into her world, and something breaks. He sees her, speaks with clarity, then vanishes into silence, not ghosting, not playing games, just refusing to feed the addiction. And that silence, it's deafening. She doesn't understand it, so she obsesses over it. Why didn't he follow up? Why do I feel rejected when he said nothing at all? Because most men chase, but the man who doesn't becomes the reward. Understand this: free attention is the currency of the weak. Selective attention is the throne of the powerful. You don't withhold validation to manipulate. You withhold it because your attention is sacred, and the moment she feels that, she doesn't just want it, she works for it. Number 2, purpose is their first love, and she knows it. He's not busy, he's devoted, not to her, but to the fire that burns behind his eyes, the mission. While average men chase women for validation, the high-value man chases legacy. His time isn't scattered. It's weaponized. He doesn't text all day. He doesn't orbit her Instagram. He moves with gravity, and that gravitational pull, it shakes her inner compass. She feels it. This man's not ignoring me to hurt me. He's simply somewhere I don't have access to. And that locked door becomes irresistible, because a man who bows to purpose doesn't get pulled by distraction. He creates urgency without trying. He creates distance without punishment. He creates craving without contact. You don't explain this to her, you live it, and she either elevates to meet your path or gets left wondering where she lost your signal. 3. Boldness is their default frequency. Most men hesitate. They pause. They overthink. They calculate the perfect moment and miss it. But the high-value man, he doesn't wait. He moves. He doesn't need permission. He doesn't script his courage. He sees something he wants, and he approaches, not with desperation, not with gimmicks, but with a calm force that says, I already know who I am. That energy, it slices through her defenses. It disorients her nervous system in the best possible way, because boldness is not about being loud, it's about being undeniable. While other men play chess with emojis and hide behind screens, he walks across the room and starts the storm. And here's the secret. You earn the right to ignore a woman only after you've proven you're unafraid to approach her. Passivity is poison. It's the slow death of masculine energy, and women can feel it. But boldness makes her lean in, because now she's dealing with a man, not a maybe. Number 4. They're complete alone. There's a type of man who's always in a relationship, not because he thrives with women, but because he fears solitude. He jumps from one to the next, clinging, needing, collapsing. But the high-value man, he's forged in isolation. He doesn't just survive being alone, he reigns in it. He knows that neediness is repulsion and wholeness is seduction. His silence doesn't scream for company. It emanates self-possession. Women feel it in the way he stands, in the way he doesn't flinch, in the way he's perfectly still, even in chaos. And suddenly she wonders, why doesn't he crave me? What makes him so whole without me? That mystery, it cuts through her like lightning, because when a man isn't chasing comfort, he becomes the source of it. She leans in not to fill a void, but to be near someone who has none. 5. Bad behavior, 0 reward. She lashes out, tests boundaries, creates drama out of thin air. Most men fold, apologize, beg for her calm, but a high-value man? He lets the silence teach. No lectures, no emotional negotiations, just withdrawal with precision. Because when a woman misbehaves and still receives attention, you've just rewarded disrespect. But when she creates chaos and is met with calm, sovereign stillness, her game collapses, her ego shatters, her emotions spiral, not because he punished her, but because he refused to play. He's not reactive. He's not available for tantrums. And in that stillness, she sees the mirror, a reflection of her own loss of control, against a man who never loses his. And the next time she wants to test his limits, she'll think twice, because his silence doesn't just correct her, it reprograms her. The storm only rattles the weak. He is the mountain, still, silent, unshakable. 6. They communicate like kings. There are no maybes, no walls of emojis, no endless small talk. A high-value man speaks in clear lines, like steel being drawn from the sheath. He doesn't ask permission to be direct. He is direct. Let's meet. This isn't for me. I don't chase. There's no fluff, no validation fishing, no insecure over-explaining. Because where most men speak to be liked, he speaks to be understood, and in doing so, he becomes impossible to confuse and impossible to manipulate. Women notice the absence of softness in his tone. They sense he's not texting 10 other girls. He's not performing. He's deciding. Every word is a choice, every message a message. And if she plays games, he vanishes, not out of pettiness, but out of principle. He's not afraid to lose her, because he never needed her to feel whole. When you communicate like this, you collapse the space for indecision. You eliminate gray areas, and you force clarity. And clarity is arousing, because power isn't in how much you say, it's in how much you don't need to. Number 7, plans stay plans. She calls, she flirts, she tempts, but the high-value man, he already has a life, and that life doesn't bend at the sound of her voice. He doesn't cancel workouts, he doesn't skip meetings, he doesn't rearrange his kingdom to fit a guest. Why? Because when your time is sacred, you guard it like treasure. Low-value men fold. They treat her as the prize, and life as negotiable. But he understands the law of value. What's easily rescheduled is easily disrespected. And when she sees that, she doesn't get offended. She gets obsessed. Why am I not the exception? What does he value more than me? How do I become worthy of his time? That's the shift. By honoring your own path, you force her to chase a place in it. You don't become her plan. You make her want to become part of yours. And if she ever earns it, it won't be because you made her the center. It'll be because she aligned with your gravity. Number 8, they live from a superior mindset. She looks at him and doesn't see desperation. She sees direction. Because while other men spiral in self-doubt, the high-value man radiates certainty. He doesn't stutter in her presence. He doesn't ask for permission to be himself. He doesn't flinch. Why? Because he doesn't chase validation. He carries conviction. This mindset isn't loud. It doesn't brag. It breathes power in silence. He knows his value, and because of that, she begins to question hers. She leans in. She overthinks. She wonders, why does he feel untouchable? Why doesn't he fall like the rest? What would it take to be chosen by him? This is the hidden weapon. The man who believes he's the prize makes others prove their worth. He doesn't pedestal women. He doesn't panic around beauty. He walks into the room like he belongs there, because he does. And that energy, it doesn't just attract her, it haunts her. Now you've seen it. The pattern behind the obsession, the hidden current beneath her desire, the silent force that pulls her to the man who pulls away. And once you hold that frame, you don't chase, you command. So let her wonder. Let her crave the validation she once expected. Let her feel your silence louder than words. Because now you walk with power, not borrowed, but built. Return, rewire, reclaim your presence, subscribe to the Stoic architect. And remember, once you've seen the truth, you can't unsee it. Return, watch again, rebuild your perception,